How's it going, everyone? And welcome to the final part of this journey through making a video game guitar cover in my style. For this video, we're going to take a look at the editing process. Now, I've already gone through and done it. There's honestly the very first time that I did this, I think I did a good job with how I described it, but of course, I've learned a lot since then. So I did the basic edit. That's mostly what I've done here. It's just the basic baseline edit for how I would do my covers, including a couple little tricks that I've been doing, or that I've been starting to do. So I'm going to now take you through just general ideas for when you're editing the video and little things that I've picked up over time, and I'm going to take you through some of the extra stuff that I've been adding, because you'll notice this frame is not what the frame normally looks like. There's a lot that's cut off, usually in these kinds of frames, but let's take a quick look through actually editing the video. Now, this program that I'm using here is called DaVinci Resolve. It is completely free. There are some effects that you're not allowed to use because it's free, and you do have to pay for DaVinci Studio. DaVinci Resolve Studio, and honestly, this program, if you're familiar at all with Adobe Premiere, this is basically Premiere, but infinitely better, and it actually works. That's the best way I can put it. I started editing using it in, gosh, what was it, 2022, during the new old covers, and man, I love it. So, let's start by going through how you sync stuff up. So this is the bass clip. I'm just going to drag it in full. There's some stuff. You'll notice this clip is a lot longer than the overall track. So what you got to do is you got to find the take where you're starting, and this is why you want to make sure you have, this is a good face, this is why you want to make sure that you have the metronome turned on when you're actually doing the recording, so that way you can actually time things correctly. So if you listen to it, you can hear the metronome. And I know that this song, I started with an additional beat before the actual start of the song, so you cut it off there, drag it all the way back to the beginning. Just so you know, shortcuts that I'm using: B switches to the razor tool here, the blade edit, which is how you do your cuts, and A switches you back to basic cursor mode. And then if you unmute the track here, they all line up. Now, of course, I've done that for every single track. The number of things that I have gone through with syncing in my time is unknowable. I've gone through so much. Anyway, something else of note, you've probably noticed this, or maybe you haven't. Always cut to the beat, because if I were to, say, for instance, have this cut be like, oh, I don't know, there. Not even halfway. Let's do it like that. It feels awkward, it doesn't feel right, so always cut to the beat. And I've noticed with DaVinci Resolve, if you press spacebar exactly on the beat, it's actually a little bit before, or I think it's actually a little bit after. So like, it actually stops a couple frames later. So you have to get used to stopping, like, basically what it would be as a 16th note early. Anyway, cut to the beat. And accent the stuff that you really want the viewer to see, because obviously, like, the lead stuff is good stuff, but I've recorded these bass and, where are they, rhythm takes. I want people to see me jamming out and playing my rhythm guitars and my bass, so of course I'm going to use them. I could just do just this, but it's not a music video to me in that case. You're going to want to actually show everything. So I do show everything, and I show what's necessary when it's necessary. For example, in this bass section here, the bass is the only thing that's playing there, and then the rhythm guitar comes in. That's a new instrument, so I want to kind of highlight that for a second. And then there are little sections of, like, silence. Let's see, like here. If we listen to this, not silence, you know what I mean. I guess I could better show it off like this. So we're coming out of, I believe it's the second chorus, and this is what I do. I'm accenting the stuff that I think is necessary. And then here there's a slide in. Accenting the chord change, the key change there with the lead guitars. And then something else I've been doing is I like to, if I can find it. I like to show as much of the solo as I can in one continuous take. More often than not, it'll be the entire solo because I practiced it and I wanted to show off the fact that I've actually learned the frickin' solo. Especially for the Falling Mists, because that solo was hard. But I show off pretty much all the solo except for stuff that I don't really think is necessary to show on video. Showing the rhythm guitars here was just accenting the gent, as it were. And also show off me doing that final run. So fun. And a couple other things here, I guess. Well, that's kind of it for like talking about accenting the things. Honestly, at a certain point, I just am kind of like, let's show this clip. Sure, that works. Let's show this one. Man, not feeling that. Let's try this other one. And like, I just kind of go back and forth and see what I like. And oftentimes I just like it immediately. Or just like it immediately, just to be clear on what I'm saying here. Another thing that I do here is picture-in-picture is what it's called. Enjoy the plosives there into my microphone. So basically what that is... Basically, it's just picture within a picture. And I'm going to have to adjust this because I do add another element. Like I said, the tops and bottom of the frame get cut off, but it's still a 1080p frame. And this is probably going to be cut off. I guess I could drag it in to kind of drag in my element for that, just to kind of figure that out. But this is probably going to get cut off, so I'm going to have to change the positioning of this lead clip here. The other thing is split screen, which I love doing, and I've not done it in a long time. Pretty cool. I only do those two elements once during the song here, and that's just because I kind of wanted to show them off. And yeah, that's kind of it. Another thing I could talk about is white balancing. I have my camera always set up for the correct white balance so this doesn't look wrong, but in DaVinci Resolve, sometimes, like if your white balance is set incorrectly, the video will look something like that. Or, alternatively, it'll look something like that. Now these are not really natural looking. So what you do in DaVinci Resolve is you click on this color tab, and you click on this eyedropper here. This is for white balance. Click it. Click on something in this frame that is white. If you want it to be that way, you could say yourself. But I'm going to click on, try and find the whitest pixel of this here. And click on that. It adjusts. I am personally more fond of cooler colors. I do tend to bias more towards them. But you don't really have to. You don't even technically have to white balance at all as long as you have your camera set up for white balancing correctly. And you'll have to go through your camera's settings in order to figure that out. But if it looks really, really orange, like that, then you're absolutely going to want to white balance it. Looks so much better. And I think that's kind of it. I could talk about LUTs, but I've not really been using LUTs. LUTs are lookup tables. Basically what lookup tables do is they analyze the frame and say, well, they analyze the frame, compare the colors of each individual pixel. So yes, 1920 by 1080 pixels, however many pixels that is, and analyzes the colors of those, compares it against a color chart that it has and says, okay, how close are you to this pixel color? If you're not close enough, let's make you close to the nearest one. Or let's make you the color of the nearest pixel. Or I guess color. Anyway, I don't use LUTs all that much. I kind of like how this looks a lot more. Just this kind of raw camera. But yeah. Now let's get on to the extra stuff I've been adding. So, we're going to start with something I've been doing since Vengeful Spirit, and that's grab my logo here. We click and drag it in. Now I have my logo in the frame. Something I've been doing is I've been doing like my logo and then what the title of the song is in the intro of the video, usually not for very long, and I tend to time it with the music as well. So, we look at this, and the AlphaStorm logo is a little bit small in the frame, and what I've learned from a little bit of experimentation is that in order for it to be pretty good in the frame, it needs to be zoomed in up here in the Transform tab. Transform is like positioning and like weird rotation-y things. Super 3D, and also rotation. Okay. But it's also zoom. So you can zoom it in and out. Whoa! Alright, but I know that 1.5 is exactly as much as I need to zoom in order for my logo to look good. And let's find where I want to have it cut to the song title. Let's have it switch here on this beat. Then, we're going to go to the Titles tab here on the left, making sure you can see my mouse. Whoops. Titles here. Click on that. Click on Text. And then we put it there. Line it up like that. I'm going to put in the title. Starlight Zone is the title of the song. The font that I use specifically is Franklin Gothic Heavy. And I know that the size for this right here needs to be 200, not 2000. So this is my font size. Comes from the AlphaStorm logo. It looks pretty much the same size. And then I do like to add a stroke to it, outside only. Just expand it as wide as it will go. Seems like it stays up for a while, but it doesn't really stay up for as long as you think. Could also throw on a drop shadow, but, you know, whatever. I don't even see it. Oh, that's why. It's directly underneath the thing. So let's try it. 20 and 20. Yep, minus 20y. Give it a little bit of depth. There you go. Just a tiny bit of depth. It looks a little bit more 3D. And you can technically do this as well for, at least I thought you could. I thought you could put a freaking thing. What's super scale? I have no idea what super scale is. That's new. Anyway, there's a lot of cool things that you can do with DaVinci Resolve, and I'm learning them as we go. But the next thing we're going to do is the video transition. I like to do a blur transition on these. Oh. Something's gone wrong. Hello? Is everything okay? Are you keeping up with me? Okay, stop. I don't want super scale. DaVinci Resolve, I will say, as great as it is compared to Premiere Pro, it can be a bit hit or miss. Anyway, we're going to go to video transitions here. I do like to put a blur dissolve on the text layer. On the text layer, please. You can just click and drag it over your clip. Do it for 6 frames. It looks like this. You can adjust the duration up here, up in the top right. Do it for 6 frames over the cross transition here. And we do blur dissolve on the way out for another 6 frames. That's kind of it. Now let's get to the other elements that I like to add. And they include, but are not limited to, a vignette, which looks little something like this. If I turn it on and off, you'll have to look specifically at the corners in order to see what this is doing, but there's a little bit of extra darkness at the corners. It's a little bit of extra depth, and a lot of what looks to be too dark will actually be gotten rid of once I add the other element that I'm going to add in, which is this, which is called 5mm.png, which is, no, it's not the size of my, anyway. This is basically just creating, like, a more cinematic film look. And as you can see, like, the vignette is still there, but it's a little more subtle. Anyway, we're going to drag this out to the length of the song, up to where the last clip cuts off, which is right here. And those guys turn off at once. Like that. And then that's kind of it for that. But the last thing we need to add is, if I can, yep, this one. We're going to add in my end card. I throw this at the end of every video. It just basically looks like this. It's just a little text element that I made in a separate application. I'll talk about that once I get to thumbnails. And we're going to right-click on it, change the clip duration, and then we're going to click on 15 seconds here. Change that, throw it there, and then you'll notice we're going to add a crossfade, a cross dissolve in and out. So you'll notice when you kind of get to the edge of a clip like this, the mouse turns from your regular mouse cursor to a sort of bracketed thing. You have to be a little bit precise because sometimes it'll look like that, but if you get it just right, it'll be like this. Click on that, press Control, go to the other side so the bracket's facing the other way, click on that, and then we're going to add in, or right-click on it, then click on Add 12 Frame Cross Dissolve. And now, if we go back a little bit, and then it goes all the way to the end of the track. That's a very crucial distinction there. Because if it doesn't go all the way to the end of the track, then you just have this extra section of silence at the very end for some reason. Because like the clip here, the video clip here, doesn't go all the way to the very end. Which in turn reminds me, I'm going to add a cross dissolve to this. So right click on it there, and then click Add 12 Frame Cross Dissolve. But we're not going to add it to the vignette or the framing. Because if you do that, it looks really weird. So you kind of get this little bit of like the top of the frame of the actual video clip, and it just doesn't quite look good to me. Anyway, so you fade it out, and that's it. Good stuff. And so with that, you basically have a video. Now, I could go into a lot of the fun stuff, a lot of the fun effects that I put over the videos for Vengeful Spirit. You know, stuff like that, or alternatively the digital glitch, which I do love, or the drone overlay, which I do also love, and even CCTV and stuff like that. I do love a lot of these effects. I don't add them anymore because honestly I don't really see much of a reason to anymore. It's just kind of not really worth it. Like I don't think the videos that I do for the most part are actually worth doing that much of a cinematic look, but it does look good for the Vengeful Spirit videos. Anyway, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go through and decide a thumbnail, and I do know roughly where the thumbnail I want is. So let me kind of dig through. It's towards the end. It's on a rhythm clip. Right there. That's the one that I want right there. So, this frame I've decided, you know what, I like how this looks as my thumbnail. So, what we're going to do in order to grab the thumbnail is you can't just right-click and like do a screenshot on this. Don't do that. It looks bad. So what you can do right here on these two tracks, this specific button here, you can disable the video track, and that's how you turn the clips on and off. We're going to turn them off. We're going to go to the color tab. We're going to right-click on the frame here and click grab still. Just the one. And if you right-click on this now, you can export it, and it'll export to whatever folder you specify. So this is Starlight Zone. Various other projects that I've worked on here. And as you can see, I've not really done that much for this year. Anyway, export that as a PNG file, and now you have a thumbnail. And now comes the point of exporting the actual video. So make sure you turn these tracks back on. I've forgotten to do that before. Alternatively, if you don't have these, just don't worry about turning them back on. Anyway, in order to deliver the video, click down here on Deliver, and we come to the Deliver page. Now, this page I would consider infamous. It's bloody annoying to deal with. Now, by this is how the export is set up by default. Everything is exactly the way you need it to be in order to export the video and the audio together. You can separate the two if you want to, I guess, but just export them together since you're uploading it to YouTube. But there's a distinct problem with this to me, and it's the fact that it's exporting as a QuickTime, an MOV file, which is, to me, really annoying. Apparently, a lot of people think QuickTime is better than MP4, but I personally prefer MP4. So, MP4. Also, the file sizes are smaller, and that's kind of a better thing. Now, if you're like me and you're doing a lot of content, you could just change this every single time you export, but you can also save presets. As you can see, I have a couple here. So if we go to my music preset, everything is set up exactly the way I need it to. The one downside is you can't choose a default export location for each individual preset, which sucks, but, you know, whatever. What is tape? Oh, cool. You can actually just export it to tape. Neat. Anyway, so we're going to title the video. For me, this is Starlight Zone, not Zoner. We're going to browse for a location. The default is wherever you have, like, the default will be whatever it is when you have the software set up. We're going to go to my videos folder, 2024, exports, and then it'll be under covers. Then we click save. And then you add it to the rendering queue down here at the bottom, and then render all. And since you're rendering one thing, that's all of it. So now it's just going to export the whole video. And if it's not a very long video like this isn't, it won't take very long. So, but if you're using, I don't know, Premiere, it'll take frickin' forever. So in the meantime, you can load up GIMP, which is my free alternative to Photoshop, but is very annoying, and I really hope to find an alternative version. It keeps on shouting at me to download the latest version, and I don't want to. Anyway, you can use Photoshop if you, for some reason, want to pay for the stupidly expensive Creative Cloud, but I am going to use GIMP just because I know it well enough by this point. So, in GIMP, you go File, New. The image sizes and all that stuff by default are going to be 1920 by 1080, I believe, so click OK. Now you just have, your background won't be black, I believe it'll be white. I just like to delete that layer. And then go through your folders to find where you have exported your thumbnail. And it is right here. This is my thumbnail. Now, there are a lot of editing tricks that you can do to these things. You can, like, cut out yourself and stuff like that. I don't do that because I am lazy. And usually after editing a video, that's kind of the last thing that I want to do. So, the very simplest things that I can do are, we have the picture itself here. It's not bad, but we can make it better. So, let's start by adding the overlay. This is just the basic overlay that I put over things. It has just this dog ear with my logo in the top left. And I love how it looks. And you'll notice there's this giant space off to the right here. So what I could do is I could start by clicking on the text element in the top left, up here. Click and drag over the space. And I don't know why it's defaulting to Franklin Gothic Heavy, but that's quite convenient. Anyway, type in the title and the title of the game. Now this font is quite small, so we're going to double the size of the track name. Very important there. The track name is double the size of the game name. Because a lot of people are going to know the song name over the game. Well, obviously they're going to know the game, but they're going to know the song name as well. So if they're looking for a specific song, it's the biggest thing out of the text elements in the frame. Looks good. We can make it even better. So we're going to add a stroke. I don't remember how I did it because I had to follow a tutorial because there isn't a built-in stroke effect. I just know that I went to drop shadow by right-clicking on that and clicking on filters, lights and shadow, and then drop shadow down here. And I have my preset here, which these are all the settings for it if you want to create your own drop shadow or stroke for the text elements here. You'll notice the video's already done exporting, by the way. Click OK. And there's a lot more that you could do here. You could, if you want, add the title of the game. And if you're anything like me, I used to do that, and let me show you kind of how I did it. What you would do, you go to Google. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 logo clip art. You could do that. And there's a lot more that you could also do. Apparently this is a GIF, actually, but this is also created by someone on DeviantArt, and I'm not going to right-click Save All. Or right-click Save As, I guess. Don't steal art from people. If I haven't made that expressly clear, don't steal art from people. I believe that's for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. That's a remade version by someone on DeviantArt. You can get this one, I guess. Honestly, every single time I do this, I feel a little bit scummy. Like, here you go. Here's kind of the original Sonic the Hedgehog clip art. So what you do, I hate to admit this on video, but you right-click, save image as, save it, hope to God that the background is actually transparent, then you click and drag it into the frame, and then it's not transparent. So now you have to go looking for another one. And like you just keep on scrolling, but again, don't steal from DeviantArt. Don't do it. It's not worth it. So like I could absolutely just keep on going forever and ever and ever. And let's see if this one's any good. It's freaking huge, but yeah, it is. Let's scale it down to let's go 750. There we go. That one is transparent, so I could put it up in the top right if I wanted to. Or, alternatively, I could get clip art of classic Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, I could do the 3D version. This is apparently something that's happening on eBay. Stuff like this. This is, again, from DeviantArt, but man, I love it. This is a pretty good one, actually, if you want to do the actual sprite art. But again, like, doing this kind of Google image searching, I feel bad doing it most of the time, and I don't do it very much anymore. You'll notice a lot of my thumbnails, I don't actually do this stuff anymore. As much as I do quite like how a lot of this art looks, and I love what it does to the depth of the thumbnail. How cute. I didn't know Shadow was capable of smiling. Awesome. Shout out to this person, whoever made this classic version of Shadow the Hedgehog. It's really cool. Anyway, I could do all that. But you'll notice that I don't do that anymore. So I'm gonna get rid of this. I do feel bad doing that most of the time. If I had the choice and I actually had the time most of the time, I would pay somebody to make the logo art for the video. But I don't, so I don't. Alternatively, I could absolutely give it to somebody, like I could give the video to someone and be like, hey, find a good frame out of this and make a thumbnail out of it, and I'd happily pay for that. Spiffy, reach out. Anyway, so this is going to be the thumbnail that I go with. I think it looks really good, as stupid as the face I'm making here is. So with this, obviously you want to save it. I do have a folder for this stuff. This is called Starlight, oh my gosh, Zone. And then if you want to export it as a PNG, export as here. Now, I would say export it as a PNG, but I actually don't. Something I've learned from doing this for long enough is that YouTube doesn't like PNGs. They prefer JPEGs. Mostly because PNGs are too big. So all of my thumbnails have been JPEGs. Anyway, export that, and now it's exported into my thumbnails folder. So if you look into here, you can see a lot of the thumbnails that I've made. All kinds of fun stuff. Murder Sonic, damn it. Anyway, if we go down here, here is the thumbnail that we just made. So now, something I want to say. With your editing and with your thumbnails, don't try to go viral, just have fun, honestly. I don't like pretending like I want to go viral with any thumbnail that I make. Anyway, next let's talk about actually uploading the video to YouTube. Now, if you're anything like me, you like to talk about the work that you do. So, I have a folder set up for all the individual little things that I'm doing. Here's a sneak preview at all the rest of the videos that I'm doing this year, except this is actually not right. I haven't updated this. There have been a lot of changes since this. Anyway, Starlight Zone here. I have massive write-ups, as you can see. You don't have to do these write-ups. You absolutely do not. I just like to because I like to talk about the work that went into these things. You'll notice that people like Rashadi B and a lot of those guys don't actually do that, but I obviously take a lot of inspiration from Family Jules, and Jules does big long write-ups, so I do it as well. I also just like talking about the things. Anyway, another thing is that you don't specifically have to talk about all the equipment that you used in order to make the video. It's just that oftentimes people will actually ask you what crap you're using. So, put it in the description. If you don't want to be pestered about what equipment that you're using. Yeah, the other thing is I put in like copyright notices and stuff like that. The AlphaStorm name is not registered, but is copyright me since 2017. Well, I guess that I should adjust that. It's now AlphaStorm Music, because AlphaStorm Music is my label. But yeah, basically, here's essentially all the stuff that you need. The subscribe link, downloads if you want to provide free downloads, playlists for things if you happen to have enough stuff for playlists, support links if you have like a Patreon setup, which is an entirely separate thing that I don't have time for this video. The credits, which are very, very important. Make sure that you credit the people who made the music. Some copyright stuff. You could also put in other links to like listen to your music and stuff like that. And then I like to put in hashtags at the bottom, but you don't have to. And so comes the last part, which is going to your YouTube channel and uploading it. Wow, look at this. I don't care about Creator Insider. But yeah, this is YouTube Studio. YouTube Studio is great. I love the modern YouTube Studio. So what you do, click on Create up here, obviously, click Upload. You can drag and drop in your video, or you could be like me, and you can just go and find it. So you upload it, and if you are starting out, all of this will be completely blank. All of it will. There's just a lot of stuff that I have set up for like presets and stuff, so that way I don't have to type it all in, because a lot of the stuff I type in is exactly the same. So here's what I do for my titling methods that I now need to look up, because it's been a while since I've actually set this up. Hang on. Give me just a moment. Okay. So what I like to do, all caps. Like that. Guitar cover, again in all caps, with brackets around it, not parentheses. Game title. Like that. That is my titling method. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Honestly, I don't really care that much about how the titles look, just as long as people know what they're signing up for when they click on the video. I used to do it, if I can find a good example of this. I used to do it as game title, song title, metal cover, or rock cover, or whatever it happened to be at the time. I've since changed that. I actually just realized I do need to change this, this thumbnail, or this title. Animal Crossing! You're being shouted at. You got to watch me do that live from a couple weeks ago. Anyway. So the next thing you do, if you have it set up in a Word, or a freaking notepad like I do, a text document, you just Control-A, Control-C. If you don't, just type out all the things. Save your, gosh, I cannot think of words, I'm sorry. Save what your basic preset is without the write-up if you do decide you want to do the write-up, and without all the equipment stuff set up here. Save it as, let me show you what the template I have looks like. Save it like this. There's some equipment that will always be the same. This I actually need to change, come to think of it. Hang on. Where is it? Here. My template's been screwed. Like that. Okay. But yeah, this is what my template looks like. You'll notice the write-up is not there, composed by is empty, and the equipment that I use is actually completely empty as well. Plus the hashtags are not written out. That's pretty much all that you need to know for setting these things up. I also need to change this. This is wrong. Crap. I do actually. Dang it! 2024, 2023. 2023, 2024. I don't know if that's set up correctly yet. Yes, it is. Okay, cool. I'm learning all kinds of stuff at this point. Anyway. But yeah, you just copy paste it in. Kind of all there is to say. To upload your thumbnail, just go and find your thumbnail again. Right here. It's a good looking thumbnail. And then you could change the tags. The tags don't, in my experience, actually change much, but it's good to make it look like you're not meta tagging, so just type in all your crap. Sega 1991, Genesis, Mega Drive, Sonic 1. Sure, we'll go with that. Now, next thing. I do like to add my end cards, obviously, because I do have the end card in the first place. I have import from the last video set up here, so that way I can just click on it, and then all the things just kind of drag in on their own. Like that. But you'll have to set these up yourself and position them, and it's actually a pretty good user experience to set them up. Anyway, click on Save once you have the end screen set up correctly. The checks will happen naturally, and or automatically. This is what happens when, like, this will turn red if copyrighted material was detected. And if it wasn't, it'll just be a blue check mark like the others. And then the visibility, I have it defaulted to set to unlisted because Patreon gets access to things early. Before publishing, do children appear in this video? Well, I am a giant man-child. And looking for overall content guidance. No, I'm not. I have been on the platform long enough. Anyway, click Save. And you just wait for it to upload. And that's kind of it. That's basically it. It just kind of uploads there. And with that, now I need to edit this video and get it ready to go up. This was a 40-minute recording session. At least I have a couple weeks to get this set up. But, yeah. Obviously, thank you guys very much again for 1,000 subscribers. It's an incredible honor to have made it to this point. In fact, 1,153 at the time of recording. Yes, that is the exact number. And yeah, I cannot thank you guys enough for getting me to that, what I thought was an unattainable goal for a very, very long time. But I'm excited to see where I can go in the future, and hopefully things pick back up a little bit. If not, that's fine. I'm happy to keep going at my own pace, YouTube. Anyway, so yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. The stock plugins version of this mix will be available on Patreon, like I said, kind of at the very start of this video, or at the very start of this series. So if you want to see what's possible with just stock plugins, support me. As little as $1 a month, $1 a month will get you access to the full suite of everything from mix breakdowns and tabs and all that stuff, including obviously this mix. And yeah, thank you guys very much for joining me. See you in the skies, Dragonites. All the best, and take care. Also see you on Sunday, because that's when this video is coming out.